Alright, let's get it, y'all. This one gonna be all of these is gonna be transformational, but I'm gonna stick to this. I'm gonna stick straight to the script and the outline on this one. And I'm just gonna give it to you how it was given to me. Alright? So it's your main man, Dr. Life, in the business of saving lives. First responder, responding to unnatural, artificial, man-made disasters. I must be about my heavenly God, mother's business of saving lives. It's the Shine Doctors. Shine Doctor, Kanisha, Zion, Michael Jordan Angel, wife, the lifesaver. Her RPG, shine on RPG. That's me, the rugged prophetic ghost of alien bedrock nation. We live in this world, we not of this world. This world is not our home. So we going up the ladder. The first shall be last and the last shall be first. So I started with my son, Damon Jr. first. Him and Destiny, their birthdays is in March. So I started with the birthday shorties. Started with Damon Jr. first. And we touched on Destiny. I gotta go back to I gotta go back to Damon too. There's multiple lessons in each one of them. I could never cover everything that's in each one of their lessons in just one of these sessions. So I gotta revisit all of them. But first I gotta finish each child before I revisit and get the rest of the lessons. So now we on Deja, and of course we gonna go up to X. And there's a component of my nephew Bryce in both of the two oldest, Deja and X-Man. Bryce has X-Man's birthday, so they always forever gonna be linked, period. But the spirit of Deja, especially when Bryce came down here to our crib, like, Deja is so much like me in that, like, everything that we do as webs, like if she did it to the other cousins, she made sure that he got it. Like, as I remember when we got the Bill house and Deja was giving it to Deja was giving it to little Shawnee and Maddie Matt, giving it to him. Cause that's what we do, body work. We make sure they feel us. Literally. We give body work to our shorties. We gonna let them know. And sure enough, she get to her little cousins and she putting in body work. Boom, boom, boom. But Bryce came running in the room when he came down here to visit, and Deja rolled him across the floor like a bowling ball. I was crying. But That's what you're supposed to do. You can't never let not one of them come through and not get what everybody else got. That's what makes our family bond so strong. As at least in the past, that's what it did. So I'm all about continuing that which the foundation that was laid. So the queen in the Bible, and what y'all gonna realize is, I hope y'all realize, if y'all don't realize this, y'all missing it. I'm showing y'all the perfect covenant. The people of the perfect covenant. Outside of that narrative that Abraham's line was the chosen line and all of that, that's the most insane, ridiculous, that's the most ignorant statement I ever heard in my life. And the fact that you got whole worship systems trying to prove that Abraham was special and chosen, it's impossible. So what I'm doing is I'm showing y'all, most importantly, the women. Not only have they done that one ignorant thing, but men have totally, I don't know if y'all realize, like, Jacob had daughters. But when Jacob blessed his children, he did not include not one daughter. Not one daughter was blessed. Like all throughout that book that y'all call holy, like it's so blatantly male chauvinistic, and it has nothing to do with God, because God is nothing like that. It has everything to do with how they translated that on purpose. It has everything to do with the ideology of the Europeans that wanted to rule at the time, and because their church and their spiritual worship system had nothing to do with God, so the book that they wrote reflects them totally. The same way Satan feels about women. Satan hates women. All women Satan hates, and anybody who worships Satan in any form or fashion is going to hate women. And that's what that book is. Full of hate towards women. The whole society of the men in the book. That's why they trying to make you believe that Abraham's seed was holy. No, Abraham's seed worshiped Satan. And so they hated women. And so that's why the men of today who still have that same faith want you to acknowledge it. Joseph was sold into slavery, and his brothers tried to kill him because he wasn't in line with Jacob. He had a much better covenant with God than Jacob did all his life. Jacob tried to rob his brother of his inheritance and spiritually had to be an outcast, and spiritually had to go do 14 years to receive a spiritual makeover. Joseph did not have to go through that. Joseph did not have to go through that. And because God was communing with Joseph all his life directly, and then God gave Joseph the vision. God gave Joseph the vision. That all of the stars in the house would bow down to Joseph's star, including his father and his mother. And Jacob got jealous. Jacob got jealous that God would choose his son. Why wouldn't he? He didn't try and steal Judah's inheritance. He didn't try. Why wouldn't God bless the boy? He didn't have any of the spiritual issues that Jacob had. And Jacob gets upset. And that's when the brother's like, yo, we could kill him. Now we could kill him. Pops ain't gonna protect him. We could kill him and get it off. I'm specifically focusing on individuals that God used when Israel could not be used. When I did my daughter Destiny, the whole book of Judges is when the kings and the priests and the people who lead Israel are in idolatry. And God raises up judges to judge Israel and show that Israel is not special to God. God is always going to have people who worship him righteously, whether Israel worshiped him or not. And so God raises up a woman named Deborah, and she leads the people. All throughout the word of God is these stories where Israel has gone astray and they in idolatry, and God still always has these other individuals who rule his people righteously when the priests and the Levites and the kings and all of the people have gone back into Egyptian idolatry and Babylonian idolatry. And so my daughter Deja, her story is just like that too. So when Joseph was sold into slavery, Joseph ended up in the house of Potiphar. Potiphar, in the lands that y'all call Egypt, it's not Egypt. Is Mizraim. In the lands of Mizraim, y'all call it Egypt, Potiphar was the high priest of the Most High God, the equivalent to when Moses went through the desert. Jethro, it says it was the high priest of God in the kingdom of Media. So Jethro and Potiphar held the same spiritual condition. And then there's so many people who don't understand and don't know what the heck they talk about when they say the king of Salem, the king of righteousness, high priest after the order of Melchizedek, that Abraham, when he was given victory by God to be able to defeat the 10 kings of Sodom and Gomorrah and bring back all of his family members that they had attacked. The 10 kings of Sodom and Gomorrah had attacked his family and carted off all of the women and the children. Abraham didn't pray. Abraham didn't have a week of prayer. Abraham went to war. Abraham went to war. And he was so justified in his dealings that God gave him power to be able to defeat. So if these are 10 kings of 10 kingdoms, they also have armies. There's no reason in the world why Abraham should have been able to defeat 10 individual kingdoms, and he wasn't a kingdom himself. But he had the heavenly kingdom. So, the verse is Genesis 44. The verse is Genesis 44. So Pharaoh said to Joseph, I hereby put you in charge of the whole land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh took his signet ring from his finger and put it on Joseph's finger. He dressed him in robes of fine linen. Then he put a gold chain around his neck. Then he gave him a golden chariot, and he had him ride in the golden chariot as his second in command. And people shouted before him, make way, move out the way, make way. Thus he put him in charge of the whole land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, but without your word, no one will lift a hand or foot in all of Egypt. Pharaoh gave Joseph the name Zaphanath-Paneah. So this is right now at the beginning. He's called Zaphanath-Paneah at the beginning. But when he was able to execute everything in the vision that God gave him, the dream of there would be 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine, and he mapped out what should happen during the 7 years of plenty. So the Pharaoh called him Zaphanath-Paneah, but he hadn't done the work yet. After the 7 years of plenty and the 7 years of famine, and it's crazy because his father had to do 14 years. 14 years of indentured servitude for trying to steal his brother's inheritance. And then you get to Joseph, and it's that 14 years again. But it's 7 years of a harvest and then 7 years of famine. But it's still the same thing. Pharaoh gave Joseph the name Zaphanath-Paneah and gave him Asenath, daughter of Potiphar, the high priest of On. So, the in the beginning marriage covenant. You cannot reign. You cannot be a royal without the in the beginning image of God. You heard me. He could not, the people wouldn't even honor you. And he couldn't have married a man either. The people won't accept any other image other than the in the beginning image of when it comes to royalty and royals. The whole world knows that because God said he created Adam and Eve in his image, in his likeness. Everybody, the only image of royalty that the world will accept is a married husband and his bride. Also, because God gave the promise to Eve that the Messiah would come to. So the whole world knows that that the queens of Sheba specifically and exclusively and only will have a divine birth and give birth to God himself. That is the definition of being royal. To have heaven's seed, everything in heaven is royal. She was the daughter of Pharaoh, the high priest of On. The king couldn't have just said, Joseph, go to work. God gave you a vision. Da, 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 da. He had to be married for the people to accept him as a royal. The high priest of On to be his. He took the daughter Asenath, the daughter of Potiphar, the high priest of On, to be his wife. And Joseph went throughout the land of Egypt. Joseph was 30 years old. Listen, there's that 30 again. It said David took the throne at 30. So God crowns his kings and queens at the age of 30. And God retires kings and queens at the age of 50 during a year of Jubilee. God made these rules. Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And Joseph went out from Pharaoh's presence and traveled throughout Egypt. During the 7 years of abundance, the land produced plentifully. Joseph collected all of the food, produce in those 7 years of abundance in Egypt and stored it in the cities. In each city, he put food grown in the fields surrounding it. Joseph stored up huge quantities of grain like the sands of the sea. It was so much he stopped counting because it was beyond measure. It was so much. God blessed him with such abundance that you couldn't even count it all. He stopped counting. Now that's what you call wealth. So I'm going to show you how important these queens, the Ethiopian Kush frankincense, queens of the burning bush that would give birth to the Messiah. This is why we say holy wood grail, holy womb grail. Holy womb grail. The most beautifulest a thing in this world, in this golden world, transformation and transfiguration. The most beautifulest thing in the golden world. A thing stands for the Alpha. I am the Alpha and the Omega. A thing, abundant life, Alpha. The heavenly host comes down to live on earth in mansions, inside of a mansion built by the perfect queens, kings, prince, and princesses, perfectly clean, dazzling, flawless. I'm going to show y'all how to identify as being the first and the last Eve and the first and the last Adam. Unlike my father and the preachers in his generation, they made a crucial mistake when they let these people translate their Bible. They don't believe in challenging heresy. They don't believe in challenging norms and all of that. We don't care nothing about that. All we care about is the truth. And you gonna give us the truth. That's it. All right. This is the ultimate wellness and fitness movement. This is the ultimate. Being created in the image of God and maintaining the image of God is the ultimate fashion statement. It's the ultimate outfit. We say putting on a fit. You're saying an outfit. It's the outwardly fashion statement of the image of God. Not one individual, a married union is the image of God. But when Adam fell, unlike what they tell you, Eve was elevated and Adam was demoted. Eve was elevated, Adam was demoted. Eve got no curse. She got a blessing. She was elevated. Adam got curses. God still blessed him, but he hit him with the curse first. All right, so Deja is the archetype of Asenath. Deja is the crown bride, the one who carries covenant authority. That's who Asenath is. That's who Deja is. She inherits these qualities from my wife. She's an extension of. So when I'm talking about Deja and Destiny, I'm talking about the qualities that they've received from being the heirs to my bride. So whatever qualities that I say are found in these two daughters, they come from my bride. And they come from the women that raised me, that taught me how to read the Word of God, how to study to show yourself approved unto God. So these characteristics have been handed down in my family. And they continue to be handed down thanks to my wife, to my two daughters. And so because I see in them what I saw in the queens that raised me, especially my mother, who said there is information that the Seventh-day Adventists have had access to that the whole world needs. And so she challenged me to give the world that which nobody is giving you. And this is called dominion. This is called your authority, your inheritance, your birthright. All you gotta do is claim it. The one who carries covenant authority, intimacy, and generational dominion. From generation to generation, you got dominion. Once again, you just gotta claim it. And I'm gonna show y'all how to claim it too. And then I'm gonna give y'all inheritance when y'all come to me and claim it. Chosen before seen. That's the theme of this week of prayer. Chosen before seen. Child 2. Theme. Asenath, the crown bride. Hidden faithfulness to public dominion. What hidden faithfulness? So I'm gonna act as if y'all don't know this Bible story in particular and Bible stories in general. So I'm gonna break it down for you. What hidden faithfulness? So both Joseph and Asenath were faithful stewards. So Joseph was the accountant. Joseph was the money man for his dad. So when they sold him into slavery, they found someone that could utilize his skill and ability and covenant with God. Because word had already gotten around that he could bring in a harvest and he could run a whole household. But there was treachery and there was a snake lurking. Asenath's mother. Just like in the story of Job. The wink link was Job's wife, Job's bride, who actually told Job, curse God and die. That's spiritual suicide. Curse God and then close your eyes and die to guarantee that you go to the lake of fire. Because right after you curse God, the very next thing is you die. So, once again, the spiritual weak link, because the word of God says Job covered his family morning and night. And the reason Job was covering his family so faithfully is because he came up in the era where Nimrod, the most vile, wicked rebel that the world has ever seen, filled with the spirit of Satan and his rebellion from heaven. So Job, knowing the climate that he's living in and knowing he's hearing the reports that everybody is reporting to this Tower of Babel, because everybody wants to participate and engage in the orgies and the freak-offs and all of that while they're building it. So everybody is flocking to be a part of building the structure that's going to defy God and allow them to go up into the heavens and take their rebellion straight to the throne room. And so because all of the practices that the people was engaging in all around him, Job began to cover his family, and God heard him. So Asenath's mother, even though she's the wife of Potiphar, and Potiphar is the high priest, so she knows that adultery is unacceptable. And there's something beautiful in the fact that the person that was designated to be able to be training up the child in the way that they should go was the one that had no moral character, was the adults that was supposed to be training and raising. They were too flawed to be counted on. So just like Joseph was a faithful steward, even though Asenath's mom caused a scandal in the high priest's household that the whole nation knew about because of the elevated position that Potiphar had. When the scandal happened in his house, the whole nation knew. And so to protect his wife's honor, Joseph took the fall. Instead of making his wife look like she was loose and a prostitute and a hooker and all of the things that she actually was, Joseph took the fall so that Potiphar wouldn't have to embarrass his wife. And that woman was Asenath's mom. But Joseph didn't respond. Joseph didn't any of that. And Asenath had the same exact identical character. That's why she was the only one who he could have been married to. All right. This is the in between the slides. I'm showing you our yacht club and spa. I'm showing you our Masons, Thundercats, and Razor Sharp from the Heart, cosmetology school, and esthetician school, and physical therapy, and virtual reality to harness it to alleviate pain. So we putting together the greatest spa experience the world has ever known, opposite of Ayurveda and the yoni stuff that they teach women to perform on other women. We've elevating and we are exclusively promoting the in the beginning image covenant, image of God covenant that God gave to Adam and Eve in the beginning. That is the height of wellness. That is the pinnacle of wellness. That is the pinnacle. That is the peak of perfection. There is no other perfection outside of the union of Adam and Eve. The only thing that was perfect on this earth is the union of Adam and Eve in the beginning. It is the source of wellness. It is the bedrock of wellness. It is the bedrock of fashion and fashion statement, bedrock of health, bedrock of beauty, the cornerstone, the foundation. All right? And that's who Asenath was. That's exactly who Asenath was. Oh, man. Okay. So the worship thought, I am faithful in secret, and God rewards me in public. Asenath wasn't anything like her mother. Asenath was exactly like her husband. Just like Joseph wasn't anything like his brothers. Joseph wasn't anything like his father, Jacob. Same thing with Asenath. They was made for each other. The flaws that was present in Asenath's mom did not exist in her. And so she was rewarded just like Joseph was rewarded. Her dedicating her whole life and her sanctuary to God in hopes that she could potentially be the mother of the Messiah. I am faithful in secret, so God rewards me in public. Hidden obedience, public elevation. Integrity when no one is watching. That's what this worship focus is. Integrity, children, young people, adults, everybody in between. Integrity when no one is watching. That's what God rewards. And Asenath is proof of that. All right. Hands down, the spa services that I have personally selected will not be matched or rivaled anywhere on earth. So if you're a professional and you want to get paid the best in the world, because you're the best in the world at everything that goes on in here, we do barber and beauty. It's a one-stop shop for wellness. It's a one-stop shop for makeovers. That's what this company is. And before me, anytime anybody ever told this story, people only told it exclusively as if Joseph was the only one that got blessed. This is from Asenath. I am equally anointed, not secondary. I am equally anointed. Just like my husband Joseph was anointed, I am equally anointed. I'm not secondary. Asenath wasn't just Joseph's wife. She was equally crowned by God. She has the tent of meeting, the Holy Spirit, image of God, beyond her relationship roles. And this is our mission with our health club and spas. This is our vision. And this should be you. With your husband, spouse, or potential husband, and your spouse, your potential significant other, whatever you want to call them. But we put this together for y'all. My story is vindicated, even after false accusation. Remember, Asenath's mom lied on Joseph and said he raped her. Joseph was falsely accused. Asenath was connected to a house of complexity, a house of deception. Yet both were elevated. God restores reputation and honor. That's the takeaway. My marriage carries dominion, not just love. Ooh. Y'all ain't heard that. I read y'all the text of what the king bestowed on Joseph. And he purposely gave him a bride right then and there when he was giving him everything. Because like I told you, you can't even be acknowledged as a royal without being in the beginning image of God. So her marriage wasn't just a marriage, it was a royal crowning. My marriage carries dominion, not just love. Their union governed a nation. Marriage as a kingdom assignment. And each one of us can have the same identical marriage. And each one of y'all young people can force God to send you your Joseph or your Asenath with your faithfulness in secret. Asenath had to be the one because the king had to find someone that matched in every way, especially the spiritual character of Joseph. She had the matching in every way. Her lineage, a daughter of priesthood. Asenath was equal to the daughter of Potiphar, the high priest of On. Parallel, Jacob had the covenant with God. Jethro had the priesthood wisdom of God. She came from spiritual covering and the tent of meeting the Holy Spirit image of God. Formed, then favored. She didn't marry into identity. I don't even use that word. That word, identity. It's no such thing as identity. It's image of God. Identity. When you're talking about roles, and there's no such thing as identity. Identity has everything to do with hacking and cyber stealing a person's. You digitally steal individuals' credit cards or whatever. Identity theft. Identity is not the word that we use. We use image of God. She didn't marry into identity. She brought the image of God with her. The hidden life, royal before recognized. She was already royal Before he even put the crown on her head, she was already a royal. That's why she had to receive the crown. Before the palace, she showed daily faithfulness, quiet obedience, no spotlight, no vindication. But heaven was watching. From the sex therapy standpoint, many women feel unseen and overlooked. And especially when you look in the Bible. Because like I said, Jacob had multiple daughters, but never ever spoke about any of them when he was blessing his children. Now you tell me how. You tell me how. After all these years, nobody has a problem with women being treated like chattel slaves. Feel overlooked. Truth, hidden seasons are preparation. They're not rejection. Seasons where you're hidden are going to prepare you for are meant to prepare you for something, not to reject you and break you down. What God crowns in private, the world cannot deny in public. What God crowns in private, the world cannot deny in public. Vindication after falsehood. Truth always rises. Joseph was falsely accused, imprisoned. Asenath connected to a complex household. Both were elevated by God. Once again, sex therapy parallel. False accusations damage the image of God, trust, and intimacy. But healing restores confidence, truth, confidence and truth. They lied about you, but heaven ruled in your favor. They lied about you, but heaven ruled in your favor. The king's public declaration. Heaven makes it official. Now, all right. So remember, this is Genesis 41, 44 through 52. The signet ring. All right. So there were 5 royal acts that the king did for Joseph and Asenath, crowning them in their coronation. There are 5 specific things that happened. First, point number 1, the signet ring. I give you authority. Pharaoh took this ring that he uses to sign all of his documents, and he took it off his hand and he put it on Joseph. I give you authority. Pharaoh gives Joseph his ring, meaning Pharaoh gave Joseph legal authority, power to act on behalf of the king. So what's the marriage insight? This is shared authority in covenant. Asenath wielded just as much power as Joseph did. You don't just have love, you have authority. In your marriage, you don't just have love, you have God's given authority if you claim it. Next, after he gave him a signet ring, then he gave him a robe. The robe. and the gold chain. I clothe you in honor. Told you we got Hollywood pictures, Hollywood fashion statement, layish fashion statement. I clothe you in honor. The image of God shift, visible royalty. So from the sex therapy lens, shame is removed. Remember, the reason we dealing with sex therapy in regards to this is because Asenath's mother tried to sleep with Joseph, and then when he had so much character that he wouldn't sleep with her, she lied and said he raped her. Shame is removed. She brought shame to her whole family. The whole nation knew. The whole nation knew that Joseph was a righteous man. Everybody knew. Shame is removed. The image of God is restored. From exposed to covered. From used to honored. God doesn't just forgive you. He reclothes you. Woof, makeover. It's what we do. When you go through the trauma of life, and when you think you at your very bottom, then God allows you to walk into our lives, and we do the lifesaver thing, and we restore, we recreate, and reclothe you. Next, he gave him a chariot. I elevate your position. Public visibility. I lift you up. Public visibility. Recognize leadership. Myrrh before millions. Ooh, 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 ooh. Myrrh represents tribulation. Joseph was thrown in prison because of the lie. Tribulation. Myrrh before millions. What you survive privately, God will display publicly. What you survive privately, Joseph survived a sexual encounter. Now, he could have just went along with it and just played the game and played the role and just... But he did not want to violate the commandment of the Most High God. The marriage, divine alignment. Joseph plus Asenath equaled kingdom partnership, spiritual and administrative unity. They ruled together. And the Pharaoh did not wait to add Asenath to Joseph's life. The king could have coronated Joseph and gave Joseph the authority and put him in but it would not have been acknowledged by the people. So the judge did it right there. So the king did it right then and right there. Spiritual administrative unity. God doesn't just elevate individuals. He establishes power couples. He establishes power couples. This wasn't a relationship. It was a rulership. It was a rulership. remember, all of this is in my daughter, Deja. Deja is Aseneth. Aseneth is Deja. All of these qualities are in my wife. Deja's prophetic identity. The crown bride. Talking points. She represents restored womanhood, healed intimacy, covenant partnership. She is not defined by past wounds. She is chosen, covered, crowned. You are not waiting to be chosen. You are revealing that you already are chosen. Aseneth wasn't waiting to be chosen. Every single day, she was so faithful that she was the only one that could be Joseph's bride. She earned the right to be crowned every single day. Every single day in every single way. She was the only one in the whole realm that could be the wife of this righteous man that talks directly to God. Out of Miami, this is the home of our yacht club and spa services. And just like individuals, they go and they sign up for membership, sign up to be a part of the country club, the exclusive country club. That's exactly what this is. But once you pay top dollar to be a part of the club, then all of the amenities and the makeover and the spa services, they come with the membership. Then whenever the doors is open, whenever we doing the makeup, because you part of the membership, you just show up. Anytime, all the time, however much, you just show up. You're a member. You belong. Nobody in the world doing it like you doing it. And nobody in the world blesses women like we bless women. Cherishes women like we cherish women. Like God told us to, commanded us to. Nobody in the world. Nobody in the world love these queens like we love them. Nobody. Our yacht club and spa is second to none. Y'all better come get it. There we go. The application for therapy and family. Heal, align, rule. Asenath's faithfulness healed the unfaithfulness of her prostitute mother. The damage that the scandal that her mother did to the high priest's wife, trying to sleep with a servant. Heal, align, rule. In marriage, build partnership, not dependency. In family, model healthy covenant. In sex therapy, restore the image of God before intimacy. Walk in authority, not insecurity. Walk in authority, not insecurity. That's what Asenath did. She walked in authority, even in the midst of the scandal, even in the midst of her mom trying to be a prostitute. She held her head high and she still walked, and she still was righteous and faithful. And just because your parents don't have any character, Asenath proves that God will reward you if you establish the characters in your family when your parents don't have them. Asenath is proof that God will reward you. He will elevate you if you're faithful. Declaration. All right, so this is the call and response. Y'all supposed to repeat this. All right, y'all supposed to repeat this, not just now, over and over as much as you need to. Y'all supposed to repeat this. You ready? I am chosen. Then you say, before I was seen. I am chosen before I was seen. That's the response. I'm calling to you. I am chosen. And you respond, before I was seen. I am covered, not exposed. I am honored, not ashamed. I am crowned, and I reign. Once again, I am chosen before I was seen. I am covered, not exposed. I am honored, not ashamed. I am crowned, and I reign. Get in the mirror, claim it daily, every single day. Get in the mirror and spit it at yourself. And then when y'all come see us, we're going to do this for you. We're going to make each one of you over back in the image of God. Final connection to our master theme for the week. Chosen before seen. The God in heaven rides for you. Asenath's expression. Heaven formed her, heaven aligned her, heaven crowned her, and heaven revealed her. Heaven formed her. Heaven aligned her with Joseph, her husband. Heaven crowned her equal. And heaven revealed her glory to the world. You may have been hidden, but when heaven reveals you, it won't look like promotion. It will look like coronation. Coronation is when you become royal, when you rule, when God puts you in a place of authority and you rule on his behalf. Coronation. Once again, you may have been hidden, but when heaven reveals you, it won't look like a promotion. It will look like a coronation. And that's it. We'll see y'all tomorrow.